My weakness? Well, I'd have to say I'm a bit of a perfectionist. How many times have you heard someone saying that, or have even said that yourself? It's quite common to repeat this over and over as an excuse to not take the next step towards a goal or dream that you have. Now, you may be thinking, but Ethan, I'm proud of myself for being a perfectionist because it means that I care deeply about the things that I do. Now, I understand why you might believe that calling yourself a perfectionist makes you feel that you work harder than others to achieve the things that you want to do. And there is some truth in that. However, our admiration for perfection is so universal that we never really stop to think about what this concept is doing to you on your language learning journey. Just like Alejandra, who even after 5 years of studying English is still paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. So if you watch until the end, you will get more than 50 years of experience from teachers and experts who have battled with perfectionism just like you have, so that you can get the tools that you need to overcome the anxiety and barriers that having to be perfect is causing you.
Now, the default game language learners play when they enter into conversation is be perfect. Get grammar perfect, pronunciation perfect, right? And the thing is, your emotional state is dictated by your performance against your goals. So if my goal is to be perfect, and then I say the wrong word, or I mispronounce something, or I misconjugate something, then I will experience negative emotion. When I experience negative emotion, it'll deteriorate my performance. I'll get into a vicious cycle. The whole thing will be painful. I'll walk away and I'll say, do I even want to do this again? Maybe I do a couple more times, but it's even worse, and then eventually I give up, right? This is the narrative. This is a storyline for the vast majority of language learners who ever existed. So how do you get out of that? Well, you have to play a game that you can win and feel good about, right? So
don't let perfection be the enemy of good. I think it is really important to realize that you can never reach perfect. If you strive for perfection at all times, you're only going to cause yourself pain and struggle. What is much more effective is to strive for personal best. Just like for a casual runner, it is not healthy to strive to be as fast as record holder Usain Bolt. It is more important that you are faster than you were last week or last month. The same is true for you. You only sabotage yourself when you believe that your English won't be good until you speak like a native. Rather than seeking perfection, it is more important that you are trying to improve a little bit every day.
If you put yourself in a vulnerable spot and you are resigned to the understanding that you will fail, you will fail. If you are resigned to that understanding, then you don't have to worry about sounding perfect. All you have to worry about is, did I try today? That's it. That's your only worry.
So your best English doesn't mean perfect English. If you think too much about having perfect English, you won't be able to ever communicate with people, which really is what languages are for. This is our main purpose since we started Real Life with meetups where people would connect and speak English regardless of their level. Look how Justin talks about the transformative journey that learners go through once they relax, accept their mistakes, and start speaking.
So people are going beyond this whole judgment, standing back, and which I think is typical. There's people stand back and look at each other and there's judgment going on, or people are scared of being judged and everything. But it's so clear after this that nobody cares. Everybody is just supporting each other, and I think that's the most amazing thing. People walked away from that with this transformational experience. Oh my gosh, really living your English. I don't need to be perfect. I can just speak. I can just connect, and that's it. I'm on my way. I may not be perfect now, but I'm speaking, and that's so empowering because then you're going to take the next step and the next step and the next step, and then you're speaking English in the real world. You're living your English in the real world.
So Lindsay also put it interestingly when she emphasizes that seeing the language as a tool for connection is so much more crucial than your fear of not sounding perfect.
So the connection, not perfection, the way I connect to that is I never want our learners to feel that, right? I never want language to get in the way of human connection. That's what that's all about. It should always be the number one goal is to maintain the connection. So if you make a mistake, don't drop your eye contact. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't move away. Look at the person in the eye and keep the connection going. It's up to you at that moment, whether you lose the connection or you keep it. Right? So we have a lot more control than we think we do.
The more effective way to overcome your perfectionism and fear of making mistakes is to get out there and start making mistakes. With our RealLife app, you can have conversations in English anytime, anywhere, at the touch of a button. The great thing is that you will speak to other learners around the world. Now, they are going through exactly what you are. They know how challenging it is, so they will have empathy for you. Conversation by conversation, you will see yourself becoming more comfortable, confident, and natural in your speaking. In addition to this, you can learn to understand fast speech by listening to the full interviews of the teachers that you are seeing today with an interactive transcript and vocabulary. And guess what? All of this is absolutely free, so you really have no excuses to not get started now. Download the app by clicking here or in the description down below. Or you can simply search for RealLife English in the Apple app or Google Play Store. Go ahead and give it a try. The confident future you will be so happy that you did. So a big lesson that perfectionists need to learn is how to get out of your head and enjoy the journey by not focusing on thoughts like, am I making mistakes? Or I have to be like other people who I see are speaking perfect English. Just like Gavin Roy learned how to do with his Portuguese.
When I'm speaking in a foreign language, when I'm speaking Brazilian Portuguese to my followers there in Brazil, it helps them to see that I'm not speaking perfectly, that I still have a bit of an accent, and it makes them realize that they can let go of their standard of perfection. They need to sound like a native speaker with zero mistakes.
So, did you have anything that really helped you to overcome that perfectionism after that year and a half that finally pushed you to start speaking?
I think I realized I only saw results when I was letting go of my perfectionism and just allowing myself to make mistakes. There's a specific piece of advice too that there's a polyglot named Benny Lewis that when I read this thing that he said saying you need to make 200 mistakes a day or else you're not going to improve. To hear someone of that stature say something which to me seemed crazy, but and to see that it was working for me kind of made everything okay. So I'm still very much a perfectionist in terms of I like my videos to be edited perfectly. I like all of the videos in my English course, for example, to be perfect products. But when it comes to my actual speaking, my language learning, it would be imperfect to assume that you're not going to make any mistakes. So the moment that I accepted that, like truly accepted, not just like I might make mistakes, like truly owned that I'm going to make mistakes and not be perfect, was when my language improved. And so now I'm okay not being a perfectionist when I'm speaking.
My students have told me countless times that they are afraid of speaking English, or that they're not fluent because they don't know enough. However, the real problem is that they can't do it because the program, which is English or any other additional language, is currently too heavy. It takes up too much energy, and their brain just can't work fast enough. So if you have ever suffered from fear or stress related to learning and speaking English, meditation can be a huge help. Some of your favorite teachers have told me about their experiences with meditation on Beyond Borders. So if you watch until the end, you will learn about the benefits of meditation, how to get started and even continue, and how to connect it to learning English.